Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is the Our Turf Football Podcast. I am Dana. We are so excited because if you see Lisa, it's Lisa. Does anyone remember Lisa? I don't know if you do or not. Oh, for Christ's sake. I knew it was coming. That's hilarious. I was re-listening to some old podcasts the other day. I was looking for a quote, and the one about you obsessing about the U came on. I'm like, yep, it's the same every damn year. I'm telling you right now. But I'm so excited to have Lisa back. We also have Kate here with us. Kate, thank you so much. Even though Kate's recovering from a horrible injury, she got stung by a bee today. So that's
while driving, and still maintained to drive well.
It's pretty impressive, actually.
It did.
And then Sonia is actually coming too. She has just gotten off of work. She will hurry and get here as soon as she possibly can. And so we will see her later in the podcast. Before we go any further, of course, we are very excited to announce this week that Donkey's Place is going to once again sponsor our podcast for the entire season. This is the third year in a row, and we are so excited to partner with them. They are just such a great group of people. I know they have 3 locations, Kate, but it has been a few months. So can you remember where the 3 locations are?
Mount Holly.
Oh, very good.
Yes.
Camden and Medford.
Camden.
Yeah.
Medford.
I was like, it's the name of someone in our chat room.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm more excited about the Donkey Cup, honestly. I know. That is our everybody wants the Donkey Cup this year. Everybody.
That's right. The other announcement we have is we are once again doing our fan fantasy football league. I don't know if it's full yet. I know it's real close. I think Sonia said there might be 1 or 2 spots left. So anyone who's interested in playing, it is a free league. We just play for fun. And this year it's going to be Kate and Sonia of us that are going to be in there to play with our fans. And we give away an actual trophy. And it actually says Donkey's Cup on it. So, y'all want to play. Come on.
It'll be
super fun. Get a chance to try to beat me.
Yeah. Sit down so you can win. Just taking a seat so you can win,
I don't think so.
Give you some time to,
all right. Oh my gosh. So anyway, we are very excited. Thank you guys all so much for joining us. Of course, this is our second episode of our 2023 season. And let me tell you, when I said, oh, I'm not that busy at work today, I'll cover Twitter. Oh my God. It was chaos on Twitter today, people. There was news after news after news. Most of the teams are obviously in camp now, except for the Steelers, who will be there again tomorrow. I think their rookies report tomorrow. Yes. And so everyone is there. We have holdouts. We have new contracts like crazy. We have new signings with Marcus Peters. We have so much going on. And there's a lot of hot topics. And I said we were going to do this every single week, but there's one. There's one hot topic. I have 2, actually. I'm going to say 2. Well, first of all, I was going to look at the pup list, and, it was really not very surprising. There weren't a lot of players. Yeah. We had Von Miller, of course, is starting out on the pup list. Jonathan Taylor starting out on the pup list. There was a few players. The surprise was that Brock Purdy, quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, is not going to start out on the pup list. He is supposedly good to go. He's on a pitch count. But they're going to let him play. So we'll see what happens there.
I told you.
Yes, you did. He's going to come back. We'll see. We'll see how that elbow surgically repaired throwing arm is. We'll see how that goes. The other interesting news to me was the fact that the Raiders running back decided he was not showing up to camp today. And I was thinking about this, you guys. Josh Jacobs, obviously one of the best running backs in the league last year. Raiders fans, let me tell you, Mr. Davis and that head coach are on some thin ice with that team, with those fans right now. Not paying your running back after dumping Derek Carr and gutting the rest of the team. Signing Marcus Peters ain't going to make them happy, people. That's not going to make them happy. I think they're going to have to. Kate, tell me this. Do you think they're going to have to pay him? They're going to have to figure out a way to get back.
Absolutely. There's no excuse. It's not like you made a deal with Derek Carr and paid him so much money that you can't afford to pay anybody else. You need to spend some money. That fan base is horrified that Derek Carr is gone. And every game that he wins with his new team is going to bring out the Raider fans just complaining. They have got to do something. And Josh Jacobs is worth every penny. You need to pay him. You need to run it back.
Right. I completely agree. The other holdout for this year is Chris Jones. Even Camden knows about that. Camden put it in our chat. He is holding out. you don't often hold out from a Super Bowl winning team. I was a little surprised at that, but he's been wanting some money for a couple of years now. And with them getting rid of Frank Clark, the Chiefs getting rid of Frank Clark and a few others, I think that, that he might just be hanging out for a while. I don't know that the Hunt family will pay him. We'll see what happens there. Maybe.
I didn't think the Giants would play Barkley what they did. But I knew he'd be in camp. I knew that was I knew they'd work something out. That was just like a, same thing. But, I think these guys, like Kate said, I think they're banking on that. They saw what he brought in. And I think that was the big purpose for Josh. He saw that and he's like, okay, he was going to hold out. They caved and did it. My question is, what Raiders fan base?
There's a feverish fan base. I know,
but it's like spread. But I mean,
it is. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Graham has a good point in chat. It says Saquon and the Giants kind of find a temporary middle ground. Yes, but I am wondering, Graham, whether or not that's going to end up hurting him in the end. I wonder if 1 year older, hopefully not one more injury, that might end up hurting him in the end. We'll have to kind of see how that goes. But there's the big news. Let me tell you, Justin Herbert just got paid all the money. All of it. There's none left in the world. Justin Herbert got all of it.
There's none left in the world.
It's all done now at this point. But this is what was interesting to me. So Tom Pelissero put out there, okay. I mean, it's like a guaranteed 133 million or something. And 200. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. Not that we don't like Justin Herbert though, but we've been waiting for years for him to break out. Tom Pelissero put this out there. I think it's really interesting. In 2013, Aaron Rodgers was the NFL's highest paid player at $22 million a year. Just 10 years later, there are 18 quarterbacks making over 22 million, 12 make over 40 million, and now 4 of them make over 50 million after Justin Herbert's extension. The cap has grown by 82%, but the quarterbacks are growing faster. So then my question, and I want answers from both of you because I know you both have opinions on this. Are the teams jumping too much in the money, percentage cap-wise, with these quarterbacks? Is it going to eventually be a huge detriment to a team? Kate, I want you to go first.
Yes. Because
there you go. That's the answer.
Okay, she's done. Okay, Kate's done.
Listen, you as a player, you want to make your money. You get the most money you can get. I'm never going to object to that. These owners have more money than they know what to do with. Pay them as much money as you want. I don't have a problem with that either. But when you have a limitation of a salary cap, whether you believe it's real or not, unicorns and rainbows, and you're paying more of that to one person, and you've got to split that little bit that's left to 52 other people, what you're going to get is you're going to start to get some discontent in the locker room. Unless that one quarterback is good enough to win you the Super Bowl every year and make you famous for that team, all those other guys have to look forward to is the experience of a championship and maybe getting picked up by another team when their contract's up who will pay them. I just think there's going to be a little attitude in the locker room when you talk about, it's like your family budget, right? They tell you spend this much on housing and this much on food and this much, you should spend this much on a quarterback and this much on running backs and this much. There's got to be a formula somewhere that works, and it's not paying the quarterbacks the majority of the money available in the salary cap.
Mm-hmm. It's going to and the interesting, there was another tweet that went out there, Lisa, and then I'm going to shoot it to you. There was another tweet that went out there that the Chiefs are now acknowledging that Patrick Mahomes is not getting paid nearly enough, right? But he's only in year 2 of his 10-year contract. What the hell do you do then? That's why you don't sign 10-year contracts, Patrick Mahomes. I know it looked good to the team, but come on. Lisa, where are you at with this money? Because it's a little, it seems a little out of control. And she's going to make a face when I say this.
Oh, no.
Is that thank God for Geno Smith. Anyway, go ahead, Lisa, go ahead.
Because you can do that with a Geno Smith because you got a mediocre quarterback and you're going to finish the mediocre pack every single year anyway. So until they're just when you look at the quarterback play, and we did this every year. When Patrick Mahomes signed, we had the discussion, oh my God, they're not going to be able to sign anybody else. They're not going to be, and they do. It is amazing how it just seems like it rolls out. It's like we talked about this with Aaron Rodgers when he had that huge contract with Green Bay Packers.
But they didn't pay anybody else.
But
they didn't on that team. It fell apart.
Before you had that, what's getting everything now on the backside of this is the guaranteed money. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
I mean, that to me is asinine, because I'm signing a quarterback to guaranteed money who I don't know about you guys. I'm still kind of waiting for Justin Herbert to have that, game. So to me, it was like, I mean, it seemed like several years ago, we're talking about incentives package. If you throw, this many touchdowns, you do this, you do. Now that's all out the window. Now it's just pure guaranteed money. It just doesn't seem like there's any incentives now. It just seems like we're just pure guaranteed money. And that makes me wonder, is it the market? We just don't have the talent at the quarterback position that we, have?
I think what it is
Smith. We don't have,
right. So I think what it is truly is they're starting to look at these NBA and Major League Baseball. And these players are set for life. Though you can't tell me those NFL owners, the football players, in my opinion, take, their bodies take more. They get concussion protocol. They deserve that money. I want everyone to make it very clear. We are not saying they don't deserve the money. We absolutely want the players to get paid. I will never defend an owner. That's just not who I am. But I will say that when you look at the landscape of sports, really NFL was lagging behind when it came to guaranteed money. It really was. But what's interesting to me is they're only doing this for one position. What is going to make the rest of those positions want to play as hard as they do? And then you're aligned. I mean, honest to God, it's baffling to me. These running backs, they're like, it's almost to the point where why play? They got one decent paycheck. Why play anymore? And then you're going to see more and more people retiring early, and you're going to have 40-year-old quarterbacks playing with a bunch of 20-year-old kids that are new every year straight out of college trying to get a contract. It's baffling to me that they have overvalued one position so much.
Yes. And then what you're going to see in the next 10 years is all of the football moms and football dads insisting to a coach in high school or grade school that their kid's a quarterback. Mm-hmm. These are all quarterbacks. We're going to have 12 quarterbacks on the field because that's all the only position anyone wants to play. And no one else is going to want to, they're not going to want to go to another position. I'm with you. Like, I'm never going to complain about someone getting their money. I don't care what it costs an owner. I don't care about guaranteed money. I do think, though, if you want it to be more equitable, you need to find a way for the incentive deals to not count against the salary cap. So if my salary cap is just flat salary, here's a salary for quarterbacks and a salary for wide receivers and running backs and linebackers and everything, kickers, whatever. Here's what you get. And then you throw an incentive in and the team can do whatever they want. Aaron Rodgers gets $10,000 a touchdown. Justin Herbert gets $6,000. Baker Mayfield gets $50,000 because he'll probably only throw two. Whatever it is, they can go as crazy as they want in the incentives. And when you're a Patrick Mahomes and you throw 61 touchdowns in a year, you're going to make more money than somebody who's throwing 29 or 30 on the incentive side. And you're getting paid for how you actually perform. And that way the teams aren't stuck on a salary if a quarterback isn't performing.
Right. So here's the opposite of this. And then I want to go to a couple of comments that we have, because we have some really good comments in our comment section. So my only caveat to that is injury. And I think that then if you're going to do that, you have to have an injury guarantee. I think you have to, because we've seen so many players get hit awkwardly once in their career is over. So I think that would have to be a caveat in there for sure. Some really good comments going on in our chat. And we want to thank everyone who is there. So Becky, back to Saquon. She's like, I don't know if they'll tag Saquon a second time too. I don't think they will either. I think they'll let him walk at that point.
Can they?
Yeah, you can do it twice.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, he's
there's a limit on how many times, isn't there? Is
two? I think it's just two. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then Graham said Chargers paid a lot of money to blow a huge lead in the playoffs. That's really funny, Graham. I like that a lot. And then Camden put out there, Kyler and Kirk got paid top dollars and it made no sense. And that's it. When you start paying quarterbacks that don't deserve it, let's just talk about Daniel Jones for a minute.
That's that thing we just talked about. That's that incentive thing. I just don't think, and everybody goes with underrated quarterbacks. This is just, for me, the last 10 years, it just seems like the quarterback position, and you guys know how I feel about the quarterback position, has just become the most important position in football. And it's
become the most expensive position in football.
And to me, it's with these offenses they're running now,
Yeah.
That's
can't run them without a running back. Oh, I said that out loud.
But it's the fear factor too, right?
Right.
We laugh at that meme of the Browns jersey with 22 quarterbacks on it, but that is every team's fear that you are going to be rotating a quarterback in and out every year. And if they find someone who's just halfway decent, Kirk Cousins, Geno Smith, somebody who's serviceable, they're like, you know what? We're going to pay him. We're going to lock him up. We'll figure out a way. There has to be, and there aren't going to be 32 Pat Mahomes. There just isn't. And these teams are locking up whoever they've settled for. And they're like, if I can get 5 to 10 years out of this guy and I'll find people to put around him, they're afraid of quarterback roulette.
So Becky then put pass rushers have also started to blow up in guaranteed dollars. That is true. You have started seeing that guarantee going over to a couple of the positions, but pass rushers against quarterbacks too. I mean, that's just one of the most important parts of the game. So that makes sense. And then I'm going to add this one. That Graham put in there, Saquon run himself into the ground and Daniel Jones got paid for it.
That's basically what they talked about last week. It's exactly right. And you got to feel for this guy. Jones got paid because of him. There's no doubt about it. And you got to think, like Kate said, where is Saquon's mental state going into this NFL season? Do you honestly think this guy's going to put 110% out when he's almost banking on not this year, but he's got to put on a good showing because he wants to get signed. Right. But that puts us into this running back humdrum again to where we are. There's teams that absolutely have coaches that are like, I can do what I can do with what I have. Right. And then
that's actually, Lisa, that brings up a great point that Peter brought up in our chat. It says, with the current landscape of running backs, where do you see the position in 5 years? Lisa, I'm going to let you go first because I think I have a different opinion on this. So what do you think, Lisa?
I think the running back is if we keep up with the pace we're going with these offenses and what to me the future looks like for the NFL and offenses, the running back position is probably going to be like kind of obsolete to me. It's going to be just like the fullback, kind of a tight end wide receiver type position. I don't think we're ever going to get back to where we were. Now can a team put on a field of a run and gun, a pound and ground? Will it work in the NFL? I don't know, because we're going to speedy pass rushers. We're going to smaller pass rushers. Speed. Everything's going to speed. Remember, we used to, in the days of the running backs, we had the big linemen. We had the big fullbacks. We had that. I just think the running back is going to be the same position we're going to see in 5 years if we keep up this same pace with these quarterbacks in this offense.
Kate?
I disagree, because I think what we're seeing now is, to your point, the defenses are getting faster and more athletic, and they're rushing and they're getting at you. And I think we're going to start seeing the offensive linemen get a little smaller and get more athletic so that you can have a running game again, because their body types are changing. When we were looking at the guys that were getting drafted this year, the athleticism of some of those defensive positions was insane. And I think the offensive linemen are going to have to adjust to that, which will bring the running game back. You are overpaying quarterbacks, and you're not going to be able to keep affording to do that. You're going to have a running game because the defenses are already better.
What happens when your $250 million quarterback gets hit by one of those speedy defenders and is out for the season? Then you have a okay backup. What's the best friend of an okay backup quarterback? A running back. And so I think what's going to be interesting is I agree with Kate. I think there's going to be a little resurgence. Might look different, might not be the same beastie downhill, sort of player, or maybe it will be. I don't know. But I think that there'll have to be a bit of a resurgence, especially on teams with absolutely young quarterbacks who rely on those running backs to let them learn for a year. I think that you're going to see those more and more. So Camden made a really good point. She said, if the running back stop mattering, then the O-line stops mattering. Well, she's not really wrong, because you only then have pass blockers. It doesn't make any sense. I think
to me, that's what you need now anyway, with these types of offenses that they're running. It just seems like
some. And then you're going to get a team with a running back who murders everybody. Jonathan.
I mean, the Titans are a good thing that had that, to me. And I think they squandered that a little bit with play calling with Derrick Henry. to me, that you had a great running back. You have a great running back there, and you're squandering it with trying to me, replace Ryan Tannehill and trying to be this offense that you're not. When use the blocks you have in front of you. Use the blocks you have. I mean, you have a Saquon Barkley. Use him.
I'd like to see more of what we're doing here in Cleveland. You've got Nick Chubb, and then we had Kareem Hunt. We'll have someone else doing that, where Nick is your hit the hole and run running back, hand off the ball to him, and then you have another guy that you can throw those screens to, just right outside of where the coverage is, and that guy's got 3 yards to get the speed up and go. That saves the wear and tear on your running back, and that 2 running back system can do a lot to keep a defense, wondering what it's doing. It seems like the Ravens do that with 1 running back because Lamar is your second running back, right? So you don't know if Lamar's running or if the running back's running. But, that kind of a double thing gives you more of a market for running backs, and it makes them healthier. It makes them more durable. It lets them last longer when they're sharing the load, and it keeps your offense 2-dimensional.
Well, unfortunately, I think there's more questions for you. Yeah. Oh.
Dana, we can't hear you. It'll have to be regulated.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. Yes.
Right. It's a CBA union thing. It'll have to be regulated.
Absolutely. I'm sorry about that, you guys. I hit the wrong button. I apologize. But yeah, that's what it's going to come down to. She's absolutely right. All right. Well, we've talked half our show on our hot topics. And so
Dana, remind everyone watching us on Facebook and Twitter, if you go over to YouTube, you can comment and we'll put your comments on the screen.
This is why we love a good chat room, because they bring up points. You guys bring up points.
And it's good that we don't agree. It's good that we don't agree, because I think they're, it's so crazy the way things are going and free agency. I mean, look at what we're talking about right now. When you look at the top 10, there's four running backs in there. There's 4 running backs in the top 10 of free agencies.
I know. And that's a great segue. So Lisa's going to talk to us about who's left in free agency, and we're going to tell you where we think they might go. Lisa, go ahead.
Well, the first one's Dalvin Cook. A lot of interest in Dalvin. Dalvin's still got a lot in the tank. And for some reason, he's taking his time. He's not rushing. It's almost like you're putting stuff out there. Minnesota's kind of toying with him. Buffalo's on you every single day. It's a new team that's in there. We've got Kate Clowney still out there. He wants to go back to Texans. So it's kind of funny, as I kind of think it's funny with our free agencies, because they're putting hints to where they want to go. And it's kind of funny to me, because when you look at the first 5, you got Dalvin Cook, Javonte Clowney, Isaiah Rodgers, you can't count because he's suspended, Ronald Darby, Ezekiel Elliott's there, Kareem Hunt's there, Leonard Fournette's there, Dalton Rivers, Teddy Bridgewater's still there, Carson Wentz is still there.
He tried out for somebody today. I can't remember.
Yeah, Carson Wentz is still there. So and it goes on and on. I was looking at the list. I mean, even down to the 30s, it's like, wow. And I'm talking about guys that are 25, 26, 27 years old.
Yeah.
It's not like these guys are old. You got Jarvis Landry out there. You got Odell Beckham out there.
No, he signed with the Ravens.
Oh, did he sign with the Ravens? That's right. That's right. He put his little Ravens thing up. That's right.
And then he turned around and said, by the way, this is going to be my last year. And the Ravens are like, awesome. Thanks. Hopefully he told them that before he signed. Let's hope.
And Matt Ryan. Look at Matt Ryan.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we got to look at, and a lot of these players, I think, Lisa, will be picked up, don't you, after, we're going to have camp injuries. I mean, we've already had a couple, sadly, it was the running back in Buffalo that is out for the season from a jet ski accident. That was terrible. And so I think that you'll see some of those players picked up there. Obviously, there's also some of those players who are getting a little older, who I truly think are like, you know what, when somebody gets injured week 10, give me a call. I'll stay in shape. I don't want to play a whole season. You know what I mean? That's what Marshawn Lynch did. He's like, I'll play 3 weeks. That's it. I don't want to play any more than that. So I think that some of those players, but it is interesting. I'm wondering after today, after we saw all the pup list people, they got a really good look at all there, if some of those free agents will start to get picked up. I know that a couple of teams in the NFC West made some cap space room today. And so it kind of makes you wonder where that is going. Let's see. I got some great comments in here. So let's see here. We have RMC, the value of an O-line is needed for your money quarterback. your quarterback can be the greatest, but without an O-line, they're marginal at best. Absolutely. 100% for sure. Oh, thanks, Graham. Graham tells me Teddy tried out for the Lions today. I knew he was a tryout for somebody today. And then Peter said, isn't Matty Ice in the booth? I thought he was too. I think he's going to
retire. He hasn't officially retired yet, though.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that was the talk, because I think that if you saw a veteran quarterback go down, you could talk him coming back out onto the field.
Maybe. I think that's probably true. Any of those names stick out for you, Kate, that you thought maybe would be picked up already?
No. I think they're left until there's an injury. They're waiting for because they're not going to get paid the money they want to get paid. And their agent's saying, listen, we got 3 weeks of preseason. We got training camps. Just wait. Somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody's going to get desperate, especially if you're a quarterback, and they're going to call you. Just wait and
enjoy your summer.
Enjoy your summer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Graham said, Naheem Hines, that's what it was. Thank you. Graham in Buffalo had that freak injury. Yeah. He was sitting on his jet ski and someone else hit him.
Yeah, getting a jet ski accident. He's out for the year. Hit him. He's done. He's done.
And then he says that could be the reason Dalvin Cook ends up in Buffalo. I saw that also on Twitter today, and that piqued my interest, especially with as tough as that division's going to be. That would make sense. I think so too. Yeah, it's really interesting what's going on there. I think that I just think we're going to see an uptick a little bit, probably in the next week or two before those, first couple preseason games. And then again, right at the beginning of season, when they start to really add up those injuries and see what kind of money they have left over. So what I thought was really interesting too, was all the first rounders that hadn't signed contracts until today. Good for you, kid.
They started
Get your money. Down. I thought that was awesome. So yeah, so that was really good, but all right. Graham, Matty Ice is going to be the 2023 Jay Cutler. What do you come back?
I think he is too. He's not wrong. I do. I think Matt's waiting, and I think if somebody goes down, he's going to come back. He's going to. So I mean, we don't want anybody to go down. Don't get me wrong. Absolutely not.
Of course not.
But it can happen, and so like I said, it happened with Miami when they brought Jay back. So
yeah, we'll see what happens. Believe it or not, you guys, a week from Thursday is the first football game. I can't believe it. The Hall of Fame game is next Thursday. It is between the Cleveland Browns and who else? The Jets and the New York Jets. Do not expect.
Well, at least we'll get to see Aaron on the sidelines, right?
Yeah,
baseball all the time. Yeah, exactly. But that's all we're going to see. By the way,
yeah, for sure. Kate, our lovely Kate, is actually going to go and keep us all up to date on the Hall of Fame. Kate, what do you expect out of this game?
I expect Aaron Rodgers to be in his hotel room while they're playing, but what he should play is he should at least play a couple series. As him and Deshaun Watson, the Browns quarterback, both need some reps. They both need to get the rust off. They both need to learn how to work with their offense, their linemen, and their teammates. I know Aaron Rodgers said he had nothing but trash to throw to in Green Bay, so it's interesting that he took 3 of those receivers with him to New York. But he needs the reps. He needs some snaps. So I'm hoping to see 1 or 2 series from each of them before they move on. The reality is it is preseason, and because they were invited to play in the Hall of Fame game, they only get 2 preseason games, not 3, which means the coaches only have 2 opportunities to get a look at these guys that are on the bubble to get to their 53-man roster. So they've got other priorities. They know that position's locked. They know who it's going to be. But there's still value in, like I said, getting the rest off and starting to be in an actual game situation. Practicing against your own defense is not the same as practicing against another team's defense.
It's true. It's 100% true.
And there's just that competitiveness that you don't get in practice that I think comes out of people like Aaron Rodgers. If you look at last year, the preseason, and what he couldn't be bothered, and then he showed up week 1 and did really well, and we kept waiting for him to stop doing it. He did well. I'm hoping he takes this seriously in New York as he's walking the Brett Favre walk of shame on his way out of his, the last few years of his career. He'll probably end up replacing Kirk Cousins in Minnesota next year. Who knows? I'm interested to see what Robert Saleh does with the Jets this year. For as much as we talk about him being a defensive-minded coach, the Jets ranked 4th last year in the number of yards given up. They did really well in that category. I was surprised to see that they had 0 defensive touchdowns. They had 2 safeties, and those were the only points that defense scored all year. You can't walk around and talk about how your defense is your bread and butter, and you just need to fix the offense now if your defense isn't scoring. For me, a top-tier defense is coming up with not just interceptions and fumble recoveries, but pick sixes. They're scoring, and they didn't have a single one last year. My Browns only had 2, but at least we had 2. So I think defensively, I think they're pretty evenly matched. Offensively, the Jets were horrible last year. The Kansas City Chiefs had the most touchdowns in the league, surprise, 61, rushing and receiving. You go all the way down to the bottom of the list. There was one team with 28 touchdowns. There were 5 with 29 over the entire season, 29. And one of those 5 teams was the Jets. So I don't know if they were all tied for 27th. I don't know how you do that when they're all that bad. If your offense isn't going to score, your defense needs to. Like, putting points on the board was the Jets' biggest problem last year. Both of these teams were 7-10. They've both got big names at quarterback with big question marks at how they're going to play. So I'm very interested to see how they do against each other. I'm not sure why the Jets were chosen. If it was just sort of a PR thing with them being on Hard Knocks and Aaron Rodgers being there and all that. Pretty sure the Browns got picked because Browns legend Joe Thomas is getting enshrined in the Hall of Fame this year, which is such a huge thing for me because it's difficult for a position like offensive lineman, I think, to understand if they really are Hall of Fame worthy when they're on your team. Because I'm such a homer. Like with quarterbacks and receivers and running back, you can see the stats.
Yeah, the numbers are there.
You know, and all I look at when I look at Joe Thomas's career is how many quarterbacks he protected. And I'm like, dude, couldn't keep any. But at the same time, he played all those games and he tackled and he did just all the things. And so then when he actually was a first ballot Hall of Famer, I'm like, oh, okay, he's actually good. We're not just all wearing his jersey because he's been here for 14 years. It like gives you that objective look that as a collective group, the football media felt he was worthy of being enshrined in the Hall of Fame. So it's going to be nuts down there with him being crazy. You know, a Wisconsin boy. We're going to have a lot of Wisconsin people in town.
I mean, it's just down the street from Cleveland, for God's sake. I mean,
he's a hometown kid. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's almost like having the draft in Kansas
It'll
City.
be nice because I don't know if you know, he did not go to the draft. He went fishing. He didn't go to the draft. He wasn't sitting in his house with TV cameras on him. He went fishing with either his dad or his grandpa. He was like, when I get home, I'll find out. And I don't know what his thoughts were on getting drafted by the Browns, but he had a very good career here. And you will see more 73 jerseys than any other number in Cleveland regularly. So it's a big thing for him to get in. But the game itself, I feel like the first half will be interesting to watch. The second half, maybe not so much. It is preseason, but it's a big stage. And like I said, these teams only get 2 games. So you may see a lot of those bubble players getting some reps and getting some time and really trying to earn a spot. I worry about games like this because, again, those bubble players are trying to get a spot. Are they going to be too aggressive? Are they going to be is somebody going to get injured because someone takes a cheap shot because they're trying to get noticed and get on a team? Those things can be a little scary, but it is what it is. It's the game. So,
and, there's a lot of football purists out there who really love preseason for that reason. They're like, I know how my starters can play. I don't need to see them play. Yeah, I need to see how if there is a diamond in the rough further down the roster. And you have to remember, guys, we only have one cut now. The 29th of August, they go from 90 to 53. And so these kids have that whole time to really shine. And so a lot of football purists really prefer the preseason so they can see where these kids are at. And that's where undrafted free agents make their name. That's where like all of that stuff comes out. And I think it's really fun.
I feel like they give 110% on every single play because this may be the only time they get on a field, as opposed to once you make the regular season. Us ladies have watched an awful lot of football where we know people gave up in the third and fourth quarter, and we're are you not even trying? The defense come out of these guys in the second half of these games are out there running and trying and working on every single opportunity they have on that field because they want to make that roster.
Right.
And you have 30. You also have 30 other teams that are watching. right?
Yep.
You also have 30 other teams that are watching this because you already know, like, let's go into the Jet situation. Zach Wilson, he plays halfway decent. We might have some trade opportunities here. We might have some things going on. So I think that makes it. I don't think you're going to see one starter, but I think you're going to see a lot of other teams interested in, like Kate said, these bubble players that might excel on our team. We might need that.
It's the only game going on. It's not like a regular preseason week where you've got 8 games. You've got the focus of everybody from every team, every player, every coach, every scout from every team, from the other 30 teams. Their eyes are going to be on what's going on down in Canton next week and on Thursday Night Football, 8 o'clock, awesome.
NBC, people, it's on TV. Everyone can watch it. All right. So Sonia sent me a little text. She is not going to be able to make it. Sadly, something came up for her at work. But that's fine because we chatted a lot about our hot topics to begin with. I want to end this. We have a question in our chat. It is from Peter. He said, a way too early question. Who is your surprise cut? So I want you to think about that. So we have Seahawks fan, a Dolphins fan, a Browns fan, other teams that you might think of that would be a surprise cut, either for money, for space, whatever it might be. Do you have a surprise cut? I will start because I've actually been asked this question about 10 times this week. And I will say, for me, it will surprise no one except for people outside of Seattle. But I do think D. Eskridge, the wide receiver who cannot stay on the field for 3 years in a row, will actually probably get cut at the end of the season or at the end of preseason, especially if JSN is who he says he is. I think that'll be interesting. I will tell you, though, today Seattle had a cut that surprised me, and that was Alton Robinson. That was very surprising to me. So, all right. Either one of you guys? Oh, Camden has a good one. She thinks OBJ might get cut. You know what?
Oh, geez.
That could happen.
I would say with us, it'll probably be in our wide receiver staple. Looking at a lot of money, looking at a lot of talent. Cedric Wilson might be somebody you might see either get shipped out via trade or just outright released.
Right.
So I think the surprise cut is because we got a ton of wide receivers that are very capable and he's due a lot of money. So if the Dolphins are definitely interested in Dalvin Cook, this might be a little bit of a string to cut. I think he's due $5 million. It would save us a couple million. So I would think that, to me, it'd come out of our wide receiver stable, and I would look for Cedric Wilson to be on the bubble.
Okay. Kate, what about you? Can you think of one?
I think
I have one. You're going to cut Myles Garrett, and he'll get to come to Seattle.
She's having. I think something else. This is part of watching the game that's going to happen this week. There are an awful lot of wide receivers on the Jets. You've got Corey Davis, who is a very good wide receiver, but you've also got Garrett Wilson. You've got Lazard, Mecole Hardman, Randall Cobb. They've got a lot of wide receivers in New York, and depending on what they do this week or next Thursday, I would keep an eye on who plays and how many reps they get, because I think that will give us a clue on which one of those wide receivers will go. If Aaron Rodgers had any input into the signing of the 3 guys that they picked up, then to me that means Corey Davis is gone and is going to be available, and I would snatch him up.
Yeah, it's a good thought. That is a very good thought.
So see who's going to start for the Jets wide receiver. Because that's somebody, when you think about that's okay. We want to see him. That's why we're going to put him out there. We want to see him.
Yeah.
And if you're the Jets and you want to move him, you put him out there and showcase him and he's like a $10-11 million cap hit. So if you can get someone to take him,
I think 7 on us.
Good, Drew. All right, everyone. Well, that is our show for this week. Thank you for all of our chatters in the chat. Again, as Kate said, if you are watching this on Facebook or Twitter, please come over to the YouTube channel during our live. We have a live chat.
Smash that subscribe button. Smash that subscribe button.
We want as many people in the chat as possible. We chat with each other. They talk to each other. It's a lot of fun. And that way we can answer your questions. We think you deserve to be heard. Your opinions deserve to be heard. So please come in there and chat away. Also, as Lisa said, hit the subscribe button. And then you'll know if we go live. Occasionally we'll go live. Like if something major happens and we can hop on, we will do so. Otherwise, we are here every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And we shoot for 30 minutes. Doesn't always happen, but that's what we shoot for, everybody. So we hope you guys are back again with us next Tuesday.